Hello, this video is brought to you by the Minnetonka Coalition for Equitable Education, or the M.C.E.E. Today's discussion will be a brief overview of dyslexia and how the learning disability affects the everyday life of a student. Dyslexia makes it hard for students to read fluently. What does that mean? It means students have a hard time comprehending what they read. It's not a vision problem. Students can see the letters, numbers, and words perfectly. A student's brain struggles with the language. Their eyes work, their brain doesn't. Unfortunately, dyslexia affects a student's reading comprehension, writing, spelling, and math skills as well. Some experts believe that between 5 and 10% of people have it. Others say as many as 17% of people show signs of reading challenges. How do you know if a student may have dyslexia? It depends, because dyslexia affects everyone differently. The most common is decoding words, when students struggle to match words with sounds. Another common deficit is phonemic awareness, when students struggle to recognize the sounds in words. In some people, dyslexia isn't suspected until students start having more trouble with complex skills like grammar and in-depth writing. Some of the signs can also be emotional or behavioral. Wait, how? I thought it was a cognitive skill. Students who struggle with classwork may avoid reading to themselves and out loud. The students may also get anxious and frustrated when having to do a reading assignment. So we've learned a little bit about dyslexia. Now let's debunk some myths. Myth number 1, dyslexia doesn't show up until elementary school. False. Dyslexia can show up well before during preschool. Myth number 2, kids with dyslexia just need to try harder to read. Students with dyslexia are not lazy. Research shows their brains function differently, and the students need specialized learning programs to develop reading skills. Myth number 3, dyslexia goes away once kids learn to read. A specialized learning program can help students develop alternative skills to improve their reading ability and comprehensive skills. However, the student will always have dyslexia. That's why students with dyslexia get extended test-taking time even when they're in college. Myth number 4, kids who don't speak English can't have dyslexia. False. Dyslexia exists all over the world and across every culture and language. Myth number 5, dyslexia is caused by not reading enough at home. Being exposed to reading at home is important for kids. We have to remember though, dyslexia is a neurological condition. Children are born with dyslexia. They can't get it from their environment. So what can the Minnetonka Public School District do better? 1, they can make sure every child has an appropriate and updated IEP. An IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. An IEP is a federal law which dictates public schools must have a measured and appropriate learning course for students. Basically, you have to make sure students are learning to read and write. No leaving a single kid behind. Minnetonka doesn't do a good job of reassessing a student's IEP every year, and unfortunately, some students do get left behind and don't really learn to read. 2, fund teacher education. This solution is so easy. Intentionally direct funds to help keep specialized education teachers up to date on resources and strategies. 3, fund specialized education teachers. More often than not, there are a limited number of qualified teachers, and they become overloaded with the number of students they have to teach. And it doesn't make sense. Minnetonka has a specialized program called the Navigators, which is devoted to teaching higher IQ students. Why would Minnetonka be more devoted to their higher IQ students than their special education students? Doesn't really make sense, and that is not equity. 4, Minnetonka already does this, but they can certainly do a better job. Provide in-class resources and testing accommodations. We have a list here. You can feel free to look through it. Number 5, provide guardians accurate and consistent communication about their child's needs. Every term, guardians should be told about the services provided for students who may have disabilities and whether they are improving or not. For guardians who do not have a student with a learning disability, a newsletter should go out with contact information in case parents suspect their child may have dyslexia. All 5 of these things, Minnetonka could certainly do better. Thank you for watching today's video. Be sure to follow the M.C.E.E. on our social media.